What's going on, everybody? This is Nick from House of Paint 203, bringing you part 2 of the Goristro series. In part 1, we fully base coated the model. In this part, we are going to start bringing out some midtones on his fur, face, and hands, and his horns. So we do have a lot of stuff to do and a lot of mixing to do, so let's jump right in. As always, I want to give a special shout out to friend of the show, Dominic Marriott, owner and founder of Critic UK, all the way across the pond in the UK. Dominic is a crafter of dice trays, dice vaults, dice boxes, dice towers, you name it, Dominic makes it. You should check out his stuff so that you can up your game at your gaming table today. Also, while you're here, be sure to smite like and slam subscribe so that you can stay up to date on all the latest content that I am putting out there in my quest to paint the manual. And of course, this week we are focusing in on the Goristro. All right, so as a midtone on his fur, I'm going to go with the fur first here. I have mixed, I have a three-way mix here. I have Rust Monster, I have a little bit of Rust Monster, I have a little bit of Minotaur hide, and I have a touch of rhinox hide. The majority of this mixture is Minotaur hide. I did want that touch of orange in there because if you look at the depiction of the Goristro in the monster manual, he is relatively reddish as far as his fur goes, so that is the look that I'm going for here. Alright, so I do somewhat like this midtone, however, I think I'm going to go over this one more time with a different mixture, probably no rhinox hide this time. But before I do that, I'm going to start applying a midtone to his face. For his face, I'm going to be using a mixture of Minotaur hide, which is his original base coat, and I'm going to be mixing that in with some Rosy shadow. So I just want to start focusing more up on the upper areas of the skin. All right, so switching gears on the fur here. Going back to that, I mixed chestnut brown with a little cambion crimson. I'll put all the descriptions in the, I'll put all the paints used in the description of the video, because it's definitely kind of experimental as far as mixing goes, but I do like the brownish red mix that this creates. And for this, while the paint, I'm purposely using paint that's still a little, it's a dry brush, but it's not completely dry, so it's more of an overbrush. I'm focusing the paint on the areas that I want to be most visible. So, for example, his arms, up here, and you can really see that red kind of showing through. Not overly worried about the protrusions on his back. I'll get to those. I actually really like that. Definitely working to bring out that red, which is definitely what I want to go for here. So that is perfect. So we'll see what we can play around with as far as final highlights on him go, and I'm not 100% sold on the fact that this particular application of this particular mixture is done. See how it looks when it dries a little bit further, but I think I'm ready to move on now to, let's go into his horns. The horns I'm taking just a little heavy brown. I am following the grooves and the layout of the horns here. I'm stopping about a third of the way down because I want it to, I want the darker color to show up and like kind of emphasize the curve of the horn. Same thing up here on the tip. I'll let that dry, and then we're gonna do the same thing on this horn. So to speed things up, I'm gonna repeat this process on this horn, and I'll see you when it's done. All right, so the other horn is done, and I went ahead and put another coat on the first horn and the second horn as well, so you can see you know, the thin layer is really doing a nice job of bringing those horns up to a lighter tone, leaving the darker color underneath to create the emphasis of that curve. So not done highlighting the horns yet, but it's a pretty good mid-tone that I'm comfortable with. And now I'm going to move on to the hands here. Next up I'm going to use for the hands is I want to darken them just a little bit, so I am going to give it a black wash. His hands are darkened up, very cool. I think I'm gonna put that ink on his tongue. It's my first time using a red ink, so I'm hoping it's not like in your face too much. I'm gonna try to dull that down actually, since I have a little of this black wash in the palette. I'm gonna see if I can mix that with the red ink just to kind of dull it down, because it is a little in your face. I really want to just get it on the tongue here. That's pretty cool, actually. Maybe a little underneath. Nice. Right, moving along, I think what I want to do next, since I have the coat of orange fire on the eye, I think I'm going to put a little touch of rust monster on there. It's a more of a pale orange. All right. Sweet. I'm gonna also try that wash on the gums. I'm doing this just to create some discrepancy between the flesh of his face. Alright, I'm happy with him so far. I think now I can actually go back into the hands with the heavy gray that I originally used as a base. Nicely diluted. I'm not sure what that is. Looks like I scuffed the knuckle there. Just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other hand. All right, the next thing I'd like to do is at least start base coating all of his gold bracers. I'm gonna go in on the arm bands up here and the arm horns with metallic colors. So I'm gonna go with Gehenna's gold. Man, that's pretty cool. I actually think since it does look so cool, I'm gonna go in on the bracers themselves. Nice thin layers. Bracers are base coated. I'm gonna get the same, do the same thing up on his horns. back over his rings as well. Get his little nose rings. And the rings on his chin beard. Not much left to do on him. We have a final highlight that we're going to be applying to his fur to really try to bring out that kind of reddish orangey nature. I want to also bring out the gold a little bit more with the polished gold. I'm going to highlight his horns and eyes once more. We're going to bring out his teeth and work on his base. So we are well on our way moving into part 3. As always, I thank you for joining me. Information on how to follow me on all my social media platforms is immediately following the video, as is information on how to follow Dominic Maria of Credit UK. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.